Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, just tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, as we've talked about on this program before, bullying can come in many forms. And one of the ones that we see a lot, and it really goes, I think, for all ages and even ethnicities, is weight bias and even weight shaming. This is one of those issues that is not only harmful for individuals, but it definitely is not encouraging for them as they're going throughout their lives. Here to talk to us about a new campaign to help bring attention to weight bias, but also to be able to offer some great tips. We're excited to welcome to our program Joseph Nadglowski as well as Patricia Nece of the Obesity Action Coalition to talk to us about the campaign and exactly what you all need to know when it comes to weight bias as well as the prominence in the United States. Thanks to the two of you for the time. Really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Well, this is a big topic, and we had something similar to this earlier this year, and that's why I'm glad to have the two of you on from the Obesity Action Coalition. Joseph, I'll start with you. What is the definition of weight bias?
Yeah, so weight bias is simply negative attitudes towards people who live in larger bodies or have obesity. But it can lead to much worse things, some of which you've mentioned already in your introduction. Bullying is an example, blaming, shaming, and even outright discrimination.
And, Patricia, this is something that a lot of times we may think about just women and girls go through, but, who is affected by weight bias?
Weight bias has no bounds. It affects all people that live in larger bodies, frankly. Mm-hmm. Kids, adolescents, adults, all races. Weight bias is ever present. It's ubiquitous in our society.
And I think that's why this conversation is so important. So, Joseph, as you and I both mentioned, when it comes to bullying, what have been some of the results of those who have been impacted by weight shaming?
Yeah, so, we talk about bullying. One of the realities is that we've been having this national conversation about bullying, right? But we often leave out weight-based bullying, which is arguably the original form of bullying, and the consequences are severe. In fact, we often talk about suicidality and the suicides that take place in our youth and adolescents, and we see that quite clearly from children who are bullied because of their weight as well.
And Patricia, what is so sad about this, and I noticed when I was prepping for this segment, is we're not just talking about something that may come from people that we might meet at work or school, but sometimes even in the healthcare profession as well. What should someone do, Patricia, if they have experienced or fear experiencing some form of weight bias, even when it comes to a healthcare provider?
That's one of the most difficult issues we face, is finding healthcare providers that will look past our weight. I have struggled to find healthcare providers that will do that. And one answer is to find somebody else. Another would be to talk to the healthcare professional who is treating you and say, I'm not going to stand for this, basically. Or simply say, if I were a thin person, what would you do? How would you treat me? What tests would you run? I had the experience of not being properly diagnosed because an orthopedist wouldn't look past my weight. He blamed all this hip pain I was having on my weight. He didn't examine me. He told me I just needed to lose weight. He diagnosed me with something that he called obesity pain, which isn't a real diagnosis. And what he missed was a 65-degree curve in my spine. I had severe scoliosis. Think of your pipes under your kitchen sink and turn them sideways. That's what my spine looks like. Wow. He missed it because he couldn't look past my weight.
Which is why I'm so glad that we're able to have this conversation. And, Patricia, thank you so much for sharing that. So, Joseph, as I mentioned, the Obesity Action Coalition has a new campaign. Talk to us about Stop Weight Bias campaign and what you hope it's able to do when it comes to being a part of the conversation.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And, the Stop Weight Bias campaign is all about raising awareness about the impacts of weight bias. And I want your listeners to understand this one key fact, right? If you are engaging in bias, you are not helping us in our effort to address the obesity epidemic. You're actually making it worse. People who experience bias are actually more likely to gain weight, not lose it. And that's why it's important that they check, your viewers and listeners actually check out the Stop Weight Bias campaign at stopweightbias.com.
StopWeightBias.com, and we definitely will be linking that up for our audience that is joining us online. Again, everyone, Joseph Nadglowski, as well as Patricia Nece of the Obesity Action Coalition, talking with us today about the dangers of weight bias and weight shaming and what they're doing with the Obesity Action Coalition's campaign to be able to bring attention to this. Thanks to the two of you for the time. I really appreciate you stopping by, and you're welcome back here anytime to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our 4-year health segment here on WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.